Hey there, and welcome back to Fade to Fact, the place where we dive deep into the stories behind your favorite movies and dig up the facts that didn't make it onto the big screen. Today, we're taking a wild ride back to the 1982nd into a world of flux capacitors, skateboards, and DeLoreans that travel through time. That's right, we're talking about Back to the Future, 1985. This movie isn't just a classic, it's a pop culture phenomenon. A film so packed with clever details, brilliant performances, and behind-the-scenes chaos that it's a miracle it ever made it to theaters at all. It's hard to overstate how much of a gamble this movie was. A time-traveling teenager who almost hooks up with his mom? Studios weren't exactly lining up to finance that one. And yet, under the direction of Robert Zemeckis and the guiding hand of Steven Spielberg, Back to the Future became the biggest movie of 1985 and one of the most beloved films of all time. But the story behind the story? That's where things get really interesting. From actors who were replaced after weeks of shooting, to a dog that was almost a chimpanzee, to a title that nearly became Spaceman from Pluto, this movie's production was just as wild as anything that happened on screen. So in this video, we're hopping into our metaphorical DeLorean, cranking it up to 88 miles per hour, and uncovering 20 things you never knew about Back to the Future. Let's go back to the future. 1. Eric Stoltz was Marty for 5 weeks. It's one of Hollywood's most infamous recasts. Eric Stoltz, a talented dramatic actor, was originally cast as Marty McFly. He shot for 5 weeks, that's nearly half the movie, before the filmmakers realized he wasn't quite right. Stoltz took the role seriously, maybe too seriously, treating the story like a tragedy instead of a comedy. Zemeckis wanted laughs, charm, and energy, so they replaced Stoltz with their original choice, Michael J. Fox. Fox was already starring in the hit show Family Ties, so he filmed that by day and Back to the Future by night, often sleeping just a few hours between shoots. The switch cost the studio close to $4 million, but gave us the Marty we all know and love. 2. The time machine was a refrigerator. Literally. In early drafts, the time machine wasn't a DeLorean. It was a refrigerator. Yes, the original concept had Marty getting inside an old fridge, which was then nuked at a test site to send him through time. Spielberg was worried kids might crawl into refrigerators at home, so the team reworked it. They needed something sleek, futuristic, and mobile. Enter the DeLorean DMC-12. Its stainless steel body, gull-wing doors, and unique design made it unforgettable and way more cinematic than a kitchen appliance. 3. Doc Brown's companion was almost a chimp. In a memo that's become Hollywood legend, Universal executive Sid Sheinberg insisted the film replace Einstein, Doc's dog, with a chimpanzee. His reasoning? Movies with chimps make money. Zemeckis and co-writer Bob Gale refused, arguing that a dog made more sense for a quirky scientist. Thankfully, they won that battle because honestly, Doc Brown with a chimp in a lab coat might have been a very different kind of movie. 4. The film's title nearly became Spaceman from Pluto. Same executive, new memo. Sheinberg wasn't a fan of the title Back to the Future. He thought it was confusing and suggested something more exciting, like Spaceman from Pluto. He even suggested changing dialogue to match it. Spielberg stepped in, writing a sarcastic thank you note calling the memo a hilarious joke, effectively embarrassing Sheinberg into dropping the idea. It's a legendary case of studio meddling being stopped just in time. 5. Crispin Glover's legal battle changed Hollywood. Crispin Glover, who played George McFly, didn't return for the sequels due to disagreements over pay and the direction of his character. So the filmmakers used old footage and a body double with prosthetics to fake his appearance in Part 2. Glover sued and won, setting a major precedent about the use of an actor's likeness. Today, any actor's image, even digital recreations, must be contractually approved. So yes, Glover indirectly helped define how modern CGI actors are handled. 6. Huey Lewis played the teacher who hated his own song. You know the song The Power of Love is an absolute banger. But did you know Huey Lewis himself has a cameo in the movie? He plays the judge at the school band audition who tells Marty, "I'm afraid you're just too darn loud." The joke? Marty's playing his song, and Lewis is the one rejecting it. It's a quiet, clever gag that makes rewatching the film even more fun. 7. Marty's guitar wasn't invented yet. During the iconic Johnny B. Good performance, Marty shreds on a cherry red Gibson ES-345. There's just one small problem: that model wasn't released until 1958. Marty's in 1955. Oops. Guitar Geek spotted the anachronism immediately, but filmmakers figured the energy of the scene mattered more than historical accuracy. And honestly, they were right. 8. Ford wanted Marty to drive a Mustang. Product placement is a big deal in Hollywood. So when Back to the Future was in pre-production, Ford offered a large chunk of cash to make the time machine a Mustang. Bob Gale famously rejected the idea, saying, "Doc Brown doesn't drive a Mustang." And he was right. A Mustang just wouldn't have had the same eccentric scientific vibe as the clunky DeLorean. Money talks, but creativity won this time. 9. The Twin Pines mall gag is genius. It's easy to miss, but one of the film's smartest Easter eggs happens in the background. Early in the movie, Marty heads to Twin Pines Mall to meet Doc. But after he goes back in time and accidentally knocks down a pine tree on the farm, the sign later reads, Lone Pine Mall. It's a blink, and you'll miss it change. But it's brilliant continuity and proof that the filmmakers were paying attention to even the smallest details. 10. Doc Brown's look was based on Einstein and a toy. Christopher Lloyd based Doc's look on a mix of Albert Einstein and conductor Leopold Stokowski. But visually, his hair and wild mannerisms were also inspired by a mechanical wind-up toy from Zemeckis' childhood, a nod to the film's whimsical tone. Lloyd's twitchy delivery, constant wide-eyed expressions, and that wild white mane became iconic, even inspiring real-world cosplay decades later. 11. Michael J. Fox filmed at night and slept on set. Balancing a sitcom and a feature film is no small feat. Fox was still committed to family ties during filming, so his schedule was brutal. Sitcom filming by day, Back to the Future at night. He'd often get only 2-3 hours of sleep, sometimes napping in the back seat of a production van. His energy on screen hides how exhausted he truly was, a testament to his professionalism, charm, and adrenaline. 12. The final line was just a joke until it wasn't. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. That line wasn't meant to set up a sequel, it was just a cheeky ending. But after the film's runaway success, Universal pushed for more. The sequel wasn't greenlit until after the movie had already hit theaters, meaning that cliffhanger was totally unintentional. Zemeckis later admitted he regretted ending with Jennifer in the car, since they then had to include her in the sequel's opening, even though she had little role in the story. 13. Hill Valley is a recycled movie set. Hill Valley's town square, the clock tower, the movie theater, and even the diner all exist on Universal Studios' backlot. It's a piece of movie history that's appeared in countless films and television shows, including Gremlins, To Kill a Mockingbird, and Bruce Almighty. It was even damaged in a 2008 fire, but the clock tower was spared. That structure is more than just scenery, it's sacred ground for movie lovers. 14. Ronald Reagan loved the movie, despite the joke. When Doc Brown hears that Ronald Reagan is president in 1985, he laughs out loud, "The actor?" But Reagan didn't take offense. In fact, he loved the movie so much that he requested it be screened at the White House. He even quoted it in his 1986 State of the Union. "Where we're going, we don't need roads." Now that's presidential approval. 15. The clock tower scene was dangerously real. The dramatic clock tower sequence was filmed with more real stunts than you'd think. While Christopher Lloyd was harnessed and filmed safely on a set, many exterior shots used stuntman Bob Yerkes, who really did climb the facade under tight conditions. There was no CGI back then, and practical effects were king. Rain, wind, and gravity made this one of the riskiest scenes in the movie. 16. Lea Thompson switched roles. Lea Thompson originally auditioned for the role of Jennifer Parker, Marty's girlfriend, but producers saw a better fit in her chemistry with Michael J. Fox, especially given the awkward "mom has a crush on her son" subplot, so she was cast as Lorraine Baines. Her performance brings warmth, humor, and just the right level of awkward tension to make the time travel premise believable and hilarious. 17. The flux capacitor was born from a hotel nap. Bob Gale claims the idea for the flux capacitor, the fictional heart of time travel, came to Zemeckis in a hotel room. He woke from a nap, scribbled a sketch of a Y-shaped thing with blinking lights, and decided that was what made time travel possible. No science behind it, just vibes. But it worked. The phrase flux capacitor is now burned into pop culture. 18. Why 88 miles per hour? It just looked cool. There's no scientific basis for the time travel speed. The writers chose 88 miles per hour because the number looks dynamic on a speedometer, sounds futuristic, and let's be honest, it just rolls off the tongue. It wasn't based on any formula or theory. Sometimes coolness wins over logic, and when Doc Brown yells 88 miles per hour, it just hits right. 19. The Libyan terrorist subplot aged poorly. In the 82nd, referencing Libyan terrorists was sadly timely, but today, that subplot feels jarring and out of place. It's been criticized for playing into stereotypes, and in some international releases, it was altered or removed entirely. Still, it served as a plot device to get plutonium into Doc's hands, but in a modern remake, it probably wouldn't make the cut. 20. A time capsule was buried on set. At the end of production, cast and crew buried a time capsule on the Universal backlot. It included props, behind-the-scenes, photos, and a VHS copy of the movie. The idea was to preserve a piece of movie magic for future generations. We don't know if it's ever been opened or if some curious studio worker in the future might dig it up and find a sports almanac inside. A timeless classic. It's been nearly 40 years since Marty McFly first blasted through time in a DeLorean, and Back to the Future still holds up. Why? Because it's more than just sci-fi. It's heart, humor, risk, and imagination all wrapped into one. This is a film that plays with paradoxes and improbabilities, yet somehow feels grounded. We connect with Marty because he's an underdog. We love Doc Brown because he's brilliant and bizarre. And we cheer for George and Lorraine because against all odds, love wins. Behind the scenes, this wasn't a guaranteed hit. There were casting shakeups, production nightmares, studio interference, and endless night shoots. But it all came together in a way that's as rare as a bolt of lightning. Maybe that's why the clock tower scene hits so hard. It's the moment when chaos turns to destiny. Back to the Future has influenced everything from animated series to comic books, theme park rides, and even real scientific discussions about time travel. And yet, it's still about a boy, a car, and one really crazy week in 1955. So whether you're a longtime fan or just discovering it for the first time, we hope this trip through the trivia timeline made you appreciate the movie even more. Thanks for watching Fade to Fact. If you enjoyed this ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your favorite Back to the Future moment. Until next time, keep your flux capacitor charged, and remember, your future hasn't been written yet. Make it a good one.